Progressing PH tennis star finding own identity. Alex Ila's style of play is now finding its own identity. World number 49 Alexandra Ila said this as she continues to prepare for the 2026 Australian Open, a few days before her main draw debut against American Alicia Parks on Sunday in Melbourne. I would describe my playing style as aggressive, for sure. But it definitely progressed. Being in the WTA Tour and competing at this level consistently has helped me, stated Ila. The 20-year-old Ila discussed her improvements after she defeated Donna Vekic in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4, in an exhibition match at the Kooyong Classic on Wednesday. Ila said she is finding the kind of game that suits her, promising to show a much better form against Parks. Improvements, are helping me find my game and growing into my personality as a player, said Ila. Ila lost in the first round of qualifying for the Australian Open last year to Jana Fett, 5-7, 2-6. This time, Ila hopes to make it past the first round and experience another big leap in the WTA rankings. Training at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain continues to shape her game, according to Ila, who is coached by Joan Bosch. I'm still with them since I was 13, stated Ila. Ila said tennis great Nadal has been a big influence to her game since she was a kid. He's part of how I carry myself on the court, and that goes with my family, said Ila. Between the baseline and the flag. The first thing people noticed about Miguel Reyes was not his forehand, though it was clean and heavy, nor his speed, which made coaches nod with approval. It was the flag stitched onto his sleeve. Red, blue, yellow, and white. The Philippines. At 15, Miguel already carried expectations larger than his racket bag. Every tournament introduction called him the rising Philippine tennis hope, as if hope itself had learned to hit topspin. He heard it in interviews, read it in headlines, felt it in the way strangers watched him warm up. He was proud, of course. But pride, he was learning, could be complicated. Miguel grew up in Quezon City, practicing on cracked public courts where the net sagged like it had given up. His father fed him balls under the late afternoon sun, sweat dripping into his eyes. His mother counted points softly from the sidelines, clapping even when he missed easy shots. Tennis was never supposed to be an identity. It was just something he loved. Something that made the noise of the city fade into the rhythm of bounce, swing, breathe. Everything changed when he won his first international junior match abroad. Suddenly, tennis was not just tennis anymore. It was Philippine tennis. Coaches talked about putting the country on the map. Sponsors mentioned representing the nation well. Comment sections debated whether he was Filipino enough, since his grandmother had Spanish roots and he trained part-time overseas. Miguel didn't know how to answer questions like that. On court, lines were clear. In or out, win or lose. Off court, everything blurred. At an ITF junior tournament in Thailand, Miguel faced a higher-ranked opponent from Europe. The crowd was small but loud, and someone waved a tiny Philippine flag from the stands. Miguel saw it during a changeover and felt a sudden tightening in his chest. Do I play for them, he wondered, or for myself? The match went to 3 sets. Miguel fought, chased, slipped, adjusted. He lost in a tight tiebreak, collapsing onto the bench afterward, exhausted and angry. Angry not at his opponent, but at himself. He had played carefully, not freely. Each shot carried a silent question. What if I disappoint them? That night, Miguel couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling of the budget hotel and thought about the kid he used to be, hitting balls until dark, laughing when he missed, trying ridiculous shots just to see if they'd work. That kid didn't care about flags or headlines. He cared about the feeling of striking the ball just right. Maybe Miguel thought that kid was still there. Just buried. Back home, training intensified. Early mornings, gym sessions, tactical drills. His coach, Coach Ramon, noticed the change. Miguel was disciplined, but tense. One afternoon, after Miguel dumped another forehand into the net, Coach Ramon called him over. Who are you playing for? The coach asked. Miguel blinked. The Philippines, he answered automatically. Coach Ramon shook his head. That's not what I asked. They sat on the bench, the court quiet except for distant traffic. You carry the flag, Coach Ramon said gently. But the flag doesn't swing the racket. You do. Miguel looked down at his hands. They were shaking slightly. You're allowed to be more than a symbol, the coach continued. You're allowed to be Miguel. The words settled slowly, like dust after a long rally. At the next tournament, Miguel tried something new. Before his match, instead of thinking about rankings or expectations, he remembered the sound of the ball on those old Quezon City courts. He remembered playing barefoot once because his shoes had torn. He remembered joy. He played freely. Not recklessly, but honestly. He went for shots because they felt right, not because they were safe. He lost the semifinal, but this time, he walked off the court smiling. He had recognized himself out there. As the months passed, Miguel's results improved. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. Wins came, losses too, but each match added a layer to his understanding of who he was as a player. Aggressive but thoughtful. Emotional but resilient. Filipino, yes, but also simply human. Media attention grew. So did the questions. What does it mean to represent the Philippines? A reporter asked after a regional title. Miguel paused before answering. It means carrying our stories with me, he said. But it also means being honest about my own. The answer surprised even him. In a Davis Cup tie years later, Miguel stood during the national anthem, heart-pounding. The crowd sang loudly, proudly. He felt the weight again, but this time it didn't crush him. It grounded him. He realized something then. Identity was not something he had to choose between. It was something he could build. He was the kid from the public courts and the athlete on international stages. He was shaped by Filipino grit and his own private dreams. The flag on his sleeve was not a cage. It was a reminder of where he came from, not a limit on where he could go. When Miguel stepped onto the court that day, he did not think about being a symbol or a savior of Philippine tennis. He thought about the next point, the next breath, the joy of the game. And in that moment, between the baseline and the flag, Miguel Reyes finally felt whole. Not just a progressing tennis star, but himself.